Joey,
Eh?
do you want a dog?
Yeah, I'll take a dog. Where you gonna get a dog?
Down at the Two Cat Kitchen, it's time for us to pitch in and start another Two Cat show. Down at the Two Cat Kitchen, we're starting on a mission to put you in the culinary know. We've got the finest recipes you ever will find, guaranteed to show you all a mighty fine time here at the Two Cat Kitchen. Time for a new edition of the Culinary Two Cat Show. The Culinary Two Cat Show.
Welcome to the Two Cat Kitchen, the show that mixes musical mayhem with culinary calamity. All right, we're going to move on to the recipe. What have you got for us today? Can you sum it up? It looks like a pasta dish.
Yeah, it is a pasta dish. Fortunately, I was one of the fortunate ones who grew up with an Italian mother who loved to cook.
Oh, wow.
And, but naturally, when I went off on my own, you got to eat. And, the early days of being a, starving college student or a starving, PA at the bottom level, you never had much money to feed yourself. So I was, I asked my mother what's a good recipe that'll fill you up, that's good. So she said, from the old neighborhood in the Bronx, she said, it's called pasta vazio, or they call pasta pasil, which is pasta with peas.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people make pasta fazool, which was beans, but she wasn't sure that I was getting enough vegetables. So she said, don't make it with beans, make it with peas, and you get this really, hearty, filling, semi-nutritious, vegetarian, actually.
Yeah.
I do put quite a bit of cheese on it that adds to the flavor. So it's not really vegan, but it'll get you through. It'll feed, a full serving of this will feed 2 grown people for 2 days if they had to.
All right, well, let's head down to the kitchen. Back at the Two Cat Kitchen, and we're getting into the pasta. We got the pasta going.
Yeah, I want to start the pasta. Pasta's going to take a few minutes to do.
All right.
This was always I actually called Mom to refresh my memory, just to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything.
Yeah.
This morning.
Oh, is that right? Oh. So
And she was just thrilled that I still remembered it, that I was still able to...
You're doing what?
What, your wife's not feeding you? No, Ma. It's too long to explain. So, we take a little olive oil, and we start with a, cover the bottom of the pan with olive oil, and we'll saute a half an onion right in there. Right there.
Nice.
We're going to brown that up. Brown that up nice and brown. When that happens. And this is actually pasta with peas. And it doesn't sound amazingly filling, but it was surprising. It had its own flavor that I remembered from growing up that nothing else ever happened. It was almost like, McDonald's cheeseburgers. They say they're a cheeseburger, but they don't taste like any other cheeseburger you ever had. They have their own taste.
Oh yeah.
This just owns its own flavor, and this is, as soon as this starts going, this is going to take me right back. Back to being both young kid getting called in from the playground, or being a starving college student. We were lucky enough. I had some great roommates in college. One was his parents were divorced, so he had been cooking for himself and his dad for quite a few years. So he was the house chef, and then we had another guy who lived in New Hampshire, and during hunting season, he would go off and he would bag, a nice buck.
Wow.
And get it butchered, and he would bring it on down. So we had one guy who was supplying fresh meat, which no one else in the dorms or the apartments had, and one guy who really knew how to cook.
Wow.
So we would, on a Sunday, we'd turn on football and we'd start roasting one of those venison roasts, and there was a line around the park. Who's got meat? Who could afford meat? What's going on here?
Wow, that sounds great. All right, so we got the pasta going, and we got the onions cooking.
You could use any kind of pasta with this. It just,
Yeah, we
we used to use what was ever on, literally, whatever was on sale. Whatever was $1 a box is what we got. Sometimes we'd buy the macaroni cheese and throw away the packet of fake cheese and just use the pasta from it, because it was the cheapest way to get a serving of pasta.
Wow.
Depending on how tough the times were.
Yeah.
You want to brown the onion.
Brown, not burn.
Brown, not burn. I am famous. I'm a little ADD, so I'm famous for look at that over there, and coming back and the smoke alarm being my kitchen timer. So this will go a little. So once that browns up, we are going to add 1 can of household peas, including all the water.
Oh, you don't drain them.
We don't drain it, because the water has the real pea flavor, so to speak.
No kidding.
And then there's going to be just the true Italian condiments that we add. Always a little oregano, always a little crushed red.
Yeah. So this is a two-pot meal, essentially, or a pan and a pot.
Pan in a pot, yeah. Once we finish with the pasta, once the pasta is done and the mixture is made, we're going to put it right in together.
Yeah.
Just leave it together a little to marry, and then keep that on the side until we get browned.
Ah, the seasoning, all important. Salt.
A little salt. A little pepper.
Pepper.
Oregano.
Oregano.
And
Crushed red.
Crushed red. It's got to have some kick to it. It's only fun if it has some kick. And then we're going to let this, going to mix this up, and then let this simmer together. Let these flavors marry for a little bit. And then we'll be back. Might be a good time to do a song, and then we come back and it'll all be ready to join together. And
what song do you have for us today?
well, I have a song that it's actually pretty. It fits in well with this meal, because even though I don't have to eat this anymore, I eat this now because I want to.
Okay.
So the song I have is it's a song by an artist you may have heard of called. His name is Shel Silverstein, and he actually wrote quite a few interesting songs for other people that got much more famous than anything he ever did. He wrote Sylvia's Mother for Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show, and he wrote Boy Named Sue, that was a big hit for Johnny Cash. So his stuff was really clever, really interesting stuff that no one else was doing. But he did a song about, the song is called Beans Taste Fine. Not necessarily peas taste fine, but the concept is the same.
Yeah,
So.
I like it. All right.
Okay.
We're going to get to that, and then we'll be back. So let's hear it.
Now a friend of mine, way back in Chicago, he finally made his pie. Well, he got himself a mansion and a butler and a chef, and he's living in the greatest style. Well, I saw him the other day, he's eating a greasy spoon while parked in front of his big old limousine. I said, hey buddy, you got so much money, how come you're sitting in here eating beans? And he said, after you've been having that steak for a long time, beans, they taste fine. And he said, after you've been drinking that champagne and brandy, you're gonna settle for wine. You know, the world is funny, and people are strange. Man is a creature of constant change. And after you've been having that steak for a long time, beans, they taste fine. I run into another dear old friend of mine in some rowdy old backstreet bar. I said, friend, is it true what I heard about you? I heard you married a beautiful 18-year-old shapely movie star. Yet here you sit, trying to make out with some barfly who's much too old and homely to be true. He said, I want you to just sit right down on that stool, young man, because I'm going to try to explain it all to you. And he said, after you've been having that steak for a long time, beans, they taste fine. And he said, after you've been drinking that champagne and Chevy's Regal, you're gonna settle for Thunderbird wine. You know, the world is funny, and people are strange. Man is a creature of constant change. And after you've been having that steak for a long time, beans, beans taste fine, you'll find out. Beans, beans, beans taste fine when you're in Boston, and that steak tastes twice as fine.
We're back at the kitchen. Beans taste fine. That was awesome.
Beans taste fine.
Beans taste fine. I think we're ready, not necessarily for beans, but I think our dish is ready to go.
I think our dish is ready to go.
How's it? Now, in the interim, while we were down at the studio, we
added the pasta
to
the pea gravy, the pea sauce, and so it was allowed to sit there and kind of marry the flavors for a while.
I love that.
So now we're
it's just to dole it out. So about how long does it have to cook, do you think?
I let it marry for about 10 minutes once it's all together. But the pasta.
And that's under like low heat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just simmer it down there so it doesn't stick. And
those of you who are following along at home,
I let the pasta. Do the pasta to your texture liking.
Yeah.
Because that's very important, and a liberal use of peas and onions on the top. And then, this is the most important part.
All right.
It needs a generous helping of that, and maybe some more of that just for color. And that is pasta pasil. Pasta with peas.
Pasil.
Pasil.
Excellent. Wow. Fantastic. Well, let's have to check it out. All right, here we go. Pasta pasil. Ooh, looks good. Wow, fantastic. Can't go wrong with this.
It's a bunch of flavors that you're not used to putting together, but man, for some reason, this was a taste.
It's pretty simple, huh?
Yeah, if I could make it. Honestly, I am no chef Boyardee. The way it all comes together in that kind of starchy, pasty, everything just sticks and really,
Fantastic.
really warms you up.
Well, Thanks, Keith, for joining us on the Two Cat Kitchen. It was quite an experience and great recipe, great song.